Welcome to Online Course Accommodations for Students with Disabilities. My name is Matt Gehrett, and I'm the Executive Director of Continuing Education at Fresno Pacific University. And I am a fellow journey traveler with you on this journey of trying to figure out how do we make our courses more accommodating for students with disabilities. In this session, what I'm hoping to do is to share with you some basic things that you need to know, along with some tools that are out there to help you in this process. So I have a website that I've created to go along with this presentation, and I will continue to add to this as time goes on because I'm continuing to learn myself. And so let me share that with you. I'm going to push it to you right now. Just a second. So here is the website. It should have come up for you to see, and of course you can go back to this and bookmark it at any time. I'm also going to share with you my screen as we go through the presentation, so you know where I'm at and what I'm talking about at the particular time. So you can always go back later, but you can also follow along with me as we go. As we go through the presentation, there will be some videos that I'd like you to watch, and so because it's better if you watch the video on your own computer and not send it to you, we're going to put up a timer during the length of the video so you can watch it and then come back and we'll continue the discussion. So just be aware of when we put up the timer, I'll hopefully have pointed out what video you should be looking at. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now, and we'll begin. Okay, you should see at this point my screen, the website that I've created, Online Course Accommodations for Students with Disabilities. And so we're going to walk through this, and again, like I said, once in a while we will have a pause to watch a video. And so I hope that this works well for you. Again, my name is Matt Gehrett, and I work in continuing ed at Fresno Pacific University. We're in the Central Valley of California. We're a private Christian liberal arts university, and what I work mostly with is teacher professional development, distance learning teacher professional development, and so obviously this issue is a big deal to us. So first of all, I want to walk you through what's here on the website. There are various types of assistive technology for students, and many of you probably know this already, but I wanted to give you links to some of the major ones that students do use to be able to interact with our online courses. There are various screen readers, and of course if you click on any of those links I have embedded in the web page, it will open up in a new window and tell you more information. Because this presentation is only an hour in length, you're going to want to go back and click on things that you find interesting and spend more time on it. So JAWS is a Windows screen reading software, and so it's really important when we create our online courses or any web page that it be accessible through this type of the most popular screen reading pieces of software. Another thing is for screen magnification. Some students, it's not that they can't see, but they need to make things larger, and so we want to make sure that our courses fit that. So here is an example of Magic Screen magnification software where you can find out more about that. And notice it works with JAWS. These are from the same company, and so many students may have access to this type of software as well. Obviously, there are on-screen keyboards, a variety of different ways to do that. There's also voice recognition tools. Some of the work you might want to be doing or the students will want to be able to speak and not type. They may have typing issues, and so Dragon Naturally Speaking is one of those pieces of software that students can use to create their products for you. I've used this on the Mac. It works really well, and I've also have folks who've used it on the PC. So there's a version for both Mac and PC. And then, of course, the thing that we're going to talk about a lot is how we do closed captioning and audio transcription for folks in online. And so we're going to talk about that as we get towards the end of this presentation. So those are a few things. There are others. And so I have a link here from Edutopia, and it talks more about different types of assistive technologies. And so what I'd like to do is take a pause. Well, actually, let's not do that. It's 10 minutes long. Let's not go ahead and pause for 10 minutes. But I'd encourage you to go back later and take a look at this video because it talks about all types of different types of assistive technology that students are using. And as you can see over here on the right-hand side, there's even more information about different types of assistive technology. So this is a great way. This is a great site. If you don't know about this site is sponsored by George Lucas. Yes, the man of Star Wars. And so all your money that you spend on those movies is going to good work, and there's lots of good resources on Edutopia. So anyway, take a look at that later. I do want to take a 5-minute break, though, for you to watch this next video on how the iPad works with autistic kids. I do believe that mobile technologies is another key factor in trying to make things accessible for students. And so this video shows how that works. So let's take a 5-minute pause, and we'll watch that video. So I hope you enjoyed that video. To me, it's very inspirational to see what the iPad is being able to do for students with very severe disorders like autism. To me, it's a long time ago we had to have really expensive devices, and now with an iPad and some simple applications, we can make a difference for kids. And so not only do we need to think about online courses and accessibility, but how do we then take those online courses and use the power of the iPad to help someone with disabilities interact with the course. And so I think this is a whole new area that is up and coming. And so anyway, just something to think about. So when we talk about the whole online, disability issues, obviously there's laws. And so we're going to take a lot of time to talk about the laws right now, but there is a link here to the laws in California. If you're watching this outside of the state of California, obviously there are other laws. There's the ADA laws. And so these are all here, and so you can take a look at those. The point is we need to be doing this whether it's a law or not. We need to be meeting the needs of our students. And so that information is there for if you'd like to take a look at it. What this all revolves around is the principle of universal design. And again, I'm just learning about this along with you, and so I'm not an expert at universal design, but there are some design principles that we have to think about each time that we create an online course. And so there is a center for universal design, and so here are the principles. We need to have equitable use. We need to be able to allow everybody have access. Principle 2, we need to have flexibility. So we have to have more than one way for students to interact with our online courses. That means that if they're going to watch a video, we have to have a transcript, we have to have it captioned. If we have an assignment or an activity, if there's something they have to do in that assignment or activity that their disability will get in the way, we need to have an alternate assignment or a different way of doing it. Anyway, we need to have equitable use, flexibility. It needs to be simple and intuitive. We need to keep things not complex. I've been, sometimes when I create activities for students to do, I don't realize how complex I'm making them. And so that's not only just for folks with disabilities, but all folks that we work with, is we need to make sure that we are very clear in what we ask them to do, and it's very simple and the steps are easy to understand. There needs to be perceptible information, so there needs to be different ways to interact. So if we have a picture in our online course, we need to have an alternative tag for that picture that describes that picture. So if someone's using a screen reader, it will go through and it will actually say what that picture is, not only just display the picture. One of the things that I am concerned about in online classes that I oversee is sometimes professors use lots of different fonts, they use lots of different colors, and that's fine, but it can be rather confusing if you have issues with color blindness or other types of sight issues. And so we want to make sure that everything's legible, that it's organized well. And then later I'm going to show you some checkers that will allow us to go online to a class and check to see if it is too much one way or the other as far as the colors or the organization or structure. Tolerance for error, we need to definitely make sure that there's nothing that's going to cause problems. This is as far as hazards, that's probably not a big deal when it comes to online classes, but it is a principle of universal design. Again, low physical effort, that's more when we're talking about working outside of an online environment, but again, another design principle. And then size and space, again, not necessarily when we talk about an online class, but again, universal design or accessibility applies to all things that students have to deal with. And so these are the principles that we need to think about as we're creating a course. I just found this. This is a tweet from Disabilities, and this is an article on creating accessible and using the instructional design principles for mobile learning. Remember, I talked about the iPad, and so this is an article that discusses what would be different or what would have to change or what would be emphasized when you're talking about mobile technology and some of the challenges and opportunities for mobile learning. So I'd encourage you to go back later and take a look at this, read through it. It's hot off the press, and so I think it has some good things to think about. Like I said earlier, I think this is a new area, and certainly something that now as everybody walks around with a phone or an iPad or some other mobile device, it allows different ways to access our classes. So that's kind of the great principles that we need to think about. So here are some tools that can help and guide you as you're creating your courses. Some checklists. The state of California has a whole variety of checklists that you can use to help check to see if it works a certain way. HTML correct, are the colors correct, all those types of things. And again, not enough time to go through each of them, but I would encourage you to take a look at these resources. And of course, folks larger than Fresno Pacific, Stanford has obviously attacked this, and so, the page has changed. I'll have to go back and fix that. Sorry about that. I will fix that on the link later. But anyway, Stanford has their checklist that they work with, and I'm sure that many of the colleges, if you're have checklists as well. And so I just wanted to show you a couple examples if you don't know where to find some basic information. What I'm really excited about, though, is this web accessibility evaluation tool, WAVE. And what it allows you to do is to go in and actually put in a website address, and it will check the page. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. We'll see. And show you, I hope you can see that, where the accessibility errors are. And so when you see a red, that means that's an issue. And so obviously our home page here has 4 errors. When I see a green, it's good, and when I see a yellow, it's a warning. Okay, and so you can see how it goes through and analyzes your page quickly and gives you some feedback on what you need to change. You can also take a look at what would the structure and order of the web page look like. If I click on structure and order, is it going to do it? It's coming. It will analyze, okay, if I'm going through a screen reader, these are the things that it would read as it goes. And so sometimes you may notice where it goes from like 15 down to 30 and back up again. That means you have an issue with the structure of your web page. And so you can quickly check the structure of your web page and see how it is for a screen reader. You can also look at what your web page would look like text only. Let me pull that up. Well, it's not working. Anyway, you can click on text only, or you can also click on the outline view, and it will show you what your web page looks in those ways. And so this is a really cool tool. There is a Firefox plugin, and so if you download the Firefox plugin, it will actually add a toolbar to your browser, and then you can you just go to a web page and say analyze, and it will go ahead and do the same type of thing. So really cool. The toolbar is really useful if you're going behind a passworded space. You need to use that because then you can log into the page and have WAVE analyze it after that. So WAVE, the Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool, very, very useful. Another place that's useful, I thought, Okay, another tool that is useful to help with checking for online accessibility issues is Juicy Studio. And so if we take a look here, this is the link to Juicy Studio, and it has some neat things in here. It has a readability test. It has a CSS analyzer, so for color and contrast and units of measurement, luminosity, link analyzers, and things like that. But the thing that I think is cool, that this would be good to use no matter what the class, is their readability tool. And so this readability test here allows you to go in and see what is the readability level of what you're putting out on a website. And so we'll do this again to our website. And so if I type in the website here and say calculate readability, this will tell me how many sentences are on that web page, how many words, the average words per sentence, and so on. And then, of course, the Flesch Kincaid grade level down here. So if you look at our web page, we have about an 8th grade reading level. That's what that means, and it's got all the information here about how it figures all those things out. And so you can easily take a look at your website, a particular description of an activity in your online class, any type of content reading that you want the students to read through that you've created yourself, and just check to see if the readability is where you want it to be. So again, Juicy Studio, another great tool to use when you're trying to take a look at your websites and or your online classes to see if they're accessible. Also, W3.org or W3C, it has a variety of information on its website, the Web Accessibility Initiative. Again, there's way more information here than you'll ever have time to look at, but I just wanted to leave it here so you could do your own research. For me and my classes, we're just trying to get everything closed captioned and make sure that we've taken care of the major accessibility issues as far as alternate tags for images and the order of our sites, the readability of our courses, those types of things. We're trying to bite that off first and handle that, and then we're going to be more detailed at looking at colors and things like that. But anyway, to me, this whole process takes a step at a time. You've got to be able to go in and continue to work on your courses and make them more accessible. So lots of information here. Now, the other thing is closed captioning. And here I have some information on different closed captioning. So Google talks about how it does some closed captioning. There's a tool called CaptionTube that helps you be able to caption YouTube videos. And again, I'm showing you free sites and free resources. Obviously, you could create captions when you create your videos and just put them in your video editing. But these are things that will help you after the fact, or give you ideas of places to upload where videos can be worked on as a group. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as far as the captioning of it. And so here's a video. Again, we won't take the time right now to watch it, but I would encourage you to go back and take a look at it as far as how CaptionTube and some of the other tools work. A website that I think is interesting is called .sub, and this website, if you post a video to this website, it uses crowdsourcing technologies. In other words, it uses the power of people on the internet to get videos captioned, and so not only captioned in English, but in multiple languages. And so when you upload a video to here, you need to do the captioning initially in English, but then the videos are out there for everybody to see, and then in other languages they can go in and add the captions in that language. So pretty cool. When you click on a particular video, again, it allows you to be able to see whatever caption you're looking for. So .sub, it's a free website, and like it says, they want you to create any video in any language. And there's actually a translation tool in here that helps you do the translation. Again, here's a video to show you how that works. We won't take the time right now, but you can go back and take a look at that later. Overstream, it's another website that you can post videos to, and it allows you to add subtitles in any language, kind of like the one that I showed you before. Just another one that allows you to use simple technology for free and post a video. Now, this obviously applies to videos that you have copyright of. You can't post somebody else's video here and then have it transcribed, and so you need to make sure that the videos here you have copyright to, and they're your own videos when you post them here. It may be that other folks have put videos on here, and so this may be a place to look for instructional videos as well. So Overstream and .sub are a couple of places that you can do that. So where do you want to go from here? Well, again, there is lots of training out there. Washington State, University of Washington, is really another location where they've done a lot more work on this, and they talk about at the Do It Center about what videos should look like and how things should not only be transcribed but also have audio help. So in other words, if you look at this video here on the screen where it says worldwide access and there's bars on the screen, if I'm blind, I won't be able to see that. And so when you actually play this video, which we're not going to do right now, but when you play this video, it'll actually describe what is on the screen, what graphics. When you think of a newscast, when the name of the person who's speaking comes up on the screen, if you're blind, you'll be able to hear them, but you won't know their title, you won't know their name, because you can't see that. And so not only do you have to have captions for folks who can't hear and want to read and watch the video, but for folks that are blind, you need to have the audio help, so when they're actually listening to the video, they know who's talking and what's going on. We're not quite there yet. It's going to take a lot of work to get to that point, but this is definitely an example of true accessibility in all areas. And so I'd encourage you to go back and take a look at this video, as well as, they have it in a variety of different formats for you to use if this particular format doesn't work for you. And of course, on this website, they have lots and lots and lots and lots of more information. I would encourage you to spend some time here as far as looking at what they say about accessibility. For me, it's a one step at a time. We're not to them yet, and what they're trying to do, but we're working towards it. But it really does open up your thought process when you watch that video about all the different ways and all the work it's going to take to truly make an online course accessible. Another book that I've read through that I think would be very useful is this book by Norman Coombs. It's Making Online Teaching Accessible, Inclusive Course Design for Students with Disabilities. So I would encourage, this is a very simple read, but it would give you some basic knowledge beyond my presentation of things that you might want to take a look at. You can see that there are excerpts here online if you want to read them. It's not a very expensive book. In fact, Josie Bass has a whole group of books that revolve around online teaching and learning that I would really recommend. If I click on here, let's see if that brings it up. There's a whole series of books that you may find interesting, not only on accessibility, but how to engage, how to teach lab science courses online, creating a sense of presence in online, so all sorts of online issues are in these books and are very, very, very useful. In fact, they were textbooks in current doctoral courses that I think you could find useful. There's also a web accessibility class from jimthatcher.com. And so again, this talks about style sheets, scripts, applets, accessible forms, and so on. And so, you know, you could go through this and get more information as well. The last thing I want to mention quickly is we do have, through Fresno Pacific, a certificate in online teaching. And so let me pull that up real quick. And so this not only focuses on accessibility in the courses, but it also impacts all the other things that online teachers need to know. And so let me pull this up here real quick. And so if you're interested, we do have the certificate for online teaching. It is 4 courses, 3 units each, or 12 units. And again, these are the courses that are involved: teaching and learning online, teaching with Moodle, and online collaboration and assessment, along with an elective course. And so this is another place where you might want to go to get more information about how to teach online. And so I just wanted to leave that with you as a possibility to continue your studies. Anyway, I want to wrap this up. I hope this has been helpful. My whole goal was just to do a quick overview and to point you in the direction of lots and lots of resources way beyond myself, so you can continue to struggle with this issue back at your campus or school site, and to continue to try to create courses that continue to meet the needs of students with disabilities. If you have other resources that you recommend, feel free to email me, and I'll be glad to add them to this. This is a growing resource for all of us. This website that I used is called Storify. This is just off the subject a little bit, but Storify is a website that allows you to create simple web pages by pulling in resources from the internet, from Twitter, from YouTube, from other things, and allows you to kind of do a way of creating some research and bookmarking places you want to go back later and look. So I would encourage you to take a look at Storify as well. It's a great resource. At least it has been for me. So with that, I want to wrap things up. I think we have I'm going to go ahead and close out my application sharing here, and I think we have a survey that we need you to fill out, and if you'll do that, thank you very much. Again, feel free to look me up and send me an email, and if you have any questions, please let me know.